Greetings. I'm Michael Quinn Patton. On Earth Day, April 22nd, 2024, evaluators from around the world endorsed a declaration calling for all evaluations to include environmental, social, and economic sustainability and regeneration criteria in their evaluations. This constitutes an historic breakthrough in how evaluation is conceptualized and the roles and responsibilities of evaluators and those who commission and fund evaluations. Following the declaration, we'll hear from Dennis Bours about the origin of the declaration and Geeta Batra about the significance of this declaration. She is the director of the Independent Evaluation Office of the Global Environment Facility. And I'll add comments about where this declaration fits and how it manifests the evolution of evaluation and evaluation criteria over 6 decades. But without delay, we want to take you right into the declaration, read section by section by a group of diverse international evaluators. Then we'll add some commentary on the origin, significance, and position of this declaration in the history and evolution of evaluation. Here's the declaration.
My name is Ian Goldman. I'm the president of the International Evaluation Academy. Evaluators' role. Given the overwhelming evidence that the climate emergency, loss of biodiversity, soil degradation, and pollution of water, air, and land threaten the future of humanity and all life on Earth, we commit to introducing context-specific criteria for environmental, social, and economic sustainability and regeneration into all evaluations, recognizing that these 3 domains are intertwined. Role of commissioners of evaluation. We call on those who commission, fund, and use evaluations to include and support context-specific criteria for environmental, social, and economic sustainability and regeneration in all evaluations, and engage a wide range of researchers and scientists in the evaluation team.
We turn now to sections of the declaration on elaboration, implications, and implementation guidance covering scope, level, interconnectedness, and values undergirding the criteria.
My name is Sonal Saveri from Mumbai, India. Scope. Taking the polycrisis seriously means including appropriate and relevant sustainability and regenerative criteria in all approaches to evaluation for all types of interventions and change efforts and across all sectors, public, private, non-governmental, academic, in whatever ways are relevant and feasible.
Greetings, my name is Natalia and I'm speaking to you from La Paz, Bolivia. The universality of the multifaceted environmental and related crises means developing and applying context-specific environmental, social, and economic sustainability and regeneration criteria at all levels: local and indigenous, regional and national, global north and global south, international and global, within formal institutions and informal networks, and in so doing, take into account the mutually reinforcing interrelationships across levels.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paulina. I'm from Mexico, and I'm part of the Ingenio team in the Polytechnic University of Valencia. So interconnectedness. We reiterate the interconnectedness of environmental, social, economic, political, and cultural systems.
Our focus is on the mutually reinforcing and dynamic interrelationships among environmental sustainability and regeneration, equitable, inclusive, and resilient social systems, and economic justice, to make clear that these are not conflicting ideas to be pitted against each other, but rather interdependent systems that need to be examined, understood, and evaluated together.
I'm Andrew Lisa Belzer, Canadian Evaluation Society National President. I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is in Mi'kma'ki, the unceded ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq First Nation. Environmental sustainability and regeneration is based on valuing nature, humanity, and all life forms as interdependent. This leads to valuing and supporting restoration, mitigation, and adaptation initiatives to significantly reduce greenhouse gases, end pollution of air, land, and water, and restore and protect ecological biodiversity, such as restoring endangered ecosystems and degraded soils, forests, and other systems, and increase the resilience of human and natural systems.
Veronica Felsis, Vice President of the International Evaluation Academy, connecting from Latvia. Economic sustainability includes living within the limits of the Earth's resources, while meeting the basic needs of all, where everyone has enough and no one has far too much.
Janet Salvador from Mexico. I'm secretary in the EXCOM of the International Evaluation Academy. Social sustainability includes reducing inequities and disparities consistent with the Sustainable Development Goals, and inclusive and democratic governance processes and institutional arrangements that are genuinely diverse and inclusive, including gender, equity, and upholding the rights of indigenous peoples, and with capacity to effectively initiate and ensure effective action based on principles of environmental justice that respect and strengthen community voices.
My name is Charmaine Campbell-Patton, and I'm based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Dakota land. And I'll read Nexus Perspective, evaluating at the nexus where environmental, social, and economic actions interconnect and intertwine means applying a complex systems framework in evaluation, seeking restorative and regenerative solutions that endure resiliently, and documenting both positive and negative patterns, intended and unintended, and planned, adapted, and emergent pathways towards transformation.
Hello, I'm Minji Jo, an evaluator from South Korea. I'm grateful to be part of the launch of the Evaluation Declaration for Earth Day. Context: sustainability inclusive evaluations include recognition of the historical patterns of exploitation, extractions, expropriation, colonialism, oppression, human dominance over nature, and greed that have created the climate crisis.
My name is Jaruna Gupta. I'm currently based in Cyprus and originally from Kenya. Uses: evaluation for sustainability and regeneration should be designed and implemented to improve and enhance sustainability inclusive initiatives, support informed, strategic, and democratic decision-making through processes and procedures that are fair and just, and strengthen community voice in evaluations and interventions.
To do so, sustainability inclusive evaluations will build and facilitate collaborations with those who commission, fund, implement, and are meant to benefit from evaluation processes and results.
Hi, I am Deborah Kaduserada from Uganda. Role and responsibility. All evaluators have a responsibility to bring this commitment to sustainable, regenerative, and restorative evaluation criteria into their work and be able to explain to stakeholders that these criteria constitute a statement of evaluators' professional and ethical responsibility, thereby advocating on behalf of inclusion of these criteria in an appropriate way and doing what is practically feasible given constraints of capacity, resources, and context.
Hola, my name is Pablo Vidueira from Madrid, Spain. I will read the transformation component. In affirming this declaration, we recognize that the challenges confronting our world, energy, environment, climate change, food security, financial security, human security, sustainability for all forms of life, demand solutions beyond what traditional evaluation methods can provide. Evaluating systems transformation initiatives through a multidimensional and cross-level sustainability lens will require innovative and inclusive evaluation approaches grounded in, engaged with, and responsive to multiple perspectives.
I'm from Cameroon, a co-chair of IFA Indigenous, and a vice president of the International Development Evaluation Associations. Let us remind one thing is very important. Our shared commitments as evaluators is to ensure that evaluation is part of the solutions going forward and not part of the problems. And that in addressing environmental, social, economic sustainability and regenerations, evaluation makes meaningful, substantive, timely, rigorous, and feasible and useful contributions to a more equitable and sustainable futures. Thank you.
So there you have it, a declaration on evaluation for sustainability and regeneration to address ecological, environmental, social, and economic criteria in all evaluations. Here's the site where you can read the full declaration and add your signature to its endorsement should you choose to do so. We're now going to have some commentary explaining the origin of the declaration, its significance, and its positioning in the evolution of evaluation. Following that commentary, there is a printed version, section by section, of the declaration in this videotape.
Geeta Batra, she's the director of the Independent Evaluation Office of the Global Environment Facility, with a long and illustrious track record in international development and evaluation.
Earth Day serves all of us as an annual reminder of the critical need for action to protect and preserve our environment. As evaluators, we clearly have the privilege as well as the duty to assess the effectiveness of various environmental initiatives, to review progress against the various goals that countries have made, as well as that organizations like ours commit to, and to provide insights that can actually drive meaningful change. And it's not just about, counting trees or measuring emissions. That's one part of it, but it's actually about understanding the big picture, right? How everything in the world is connected, from the air we breathe to the food we eat. And I think that's where our job as evaluators actually gets quite interesting. I view us as we're like little detectives, piecing together clues to solve the mystery of how we can live in harmony with nature. How do natural and human systems actually interact? And in our role as evaluators, we are tasked with asking the tough questions sometimes. Are our conservation efforts yielding the desired results? Are we effectively reducing our carbon footprint? Are marginalized communities disproportionately affected by environmental degradation? These are just some of the questions we ask. But as we seek to answer many of these questions, we must seek to assess progress towards not only individual goals, but also consider the broader systemic impacts of our actions. We need to adopt a holistic perspective that recognizes the interconnectedness of environmental, social, and economic systems, as well as pay attention to the synergies and trade-offs that exist. And I think by adopting systems thinking, we can uncover the underlying complexities and identify leverage for transformational change, which is what we are seeking at the end of the day as practitioners in development and environment, that we're in this together, because environmental issues don't stop at borders. So it's up to us to lend a hand to those who need it most and to the most vulnerable who are subject to the impacts of environmental degradation. By demonstrating what works, when, how, why, we, the evaluation community, I believe, can share the knowledge generated through evaluation with our countries to drive innovation and design better programs.
So let me build on Geeta's eloquent explanation of the significance of the Declaration to place it in a historical context of the development of the profession of evaluation, beginning with our current context and looking back. We are facing an intensifying climate emergency. The pandemic foresees additional international public health threats. The economy internationally is turbulent. There's increasing world hunger, violence, and nuclear threat is on the rise. Disinformation and misinformation are major challenges. Global inequities are increasing, all of which interact together to constitute what's being called the polycrisis, multiple overlapping, mutually reinforcing crises. It's in that context that evaluators have to decide what role we play in this time of threats to the future of humanity and all living life on Earth. And where we begin is with criteria. Evaluation has always been about criteria. In the logic of evaluation, as articulated by Michael Scriven, we begin by establishing criteria, construct standards for the criteria, measure performance and compare with standards, and synthesize into a judgment of merit or worth. What the Declaration constitutes is a new set of criteria, new in the sense of being viewed as overlapping and universal in evaluation. We've always had criteria, and that's what I want to remind everyone about. When we began evaluation 60 years ago, and I was there, we thought it was going to be about going out and measuring goal attainment. But when we went out, we found that programs didn't have goals or didn't have very concrete, specific, and measurable goals. So we got in the business of writing goals, and we established criteria for what constitute good evaluatable goals, what we came to call SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. But not only did we find they didn't have goals, they often didn't have coherent programs. So we established criteria for what constitutes a coherent program. And we got in the logic modeling business, establishing logic models as a criterion for what constitutes coherence in programming, which led us to theories of change and criteria for what constitutes an evaluatable theory of change. The OECD DAC evaluation criteria emerged because different programs, projects, interventions were using inconsistent, multiple, and diverse criteria that made comparisons and standardization difficult. And so the OECD DAC criteria gave a uniform set of 6 criteria to use in evaluations: coherence, efficiency, sustainability, relevance, effectiveness, and impact. And these criteria are widely used internationally in evaluations of all kinds. The program evaluation standards from the 1980s gave us criteria for what constitutes evaluation quality. High quality evaluations display utility, feasibility, that is, they're practical, propriety, that is, they're ethical, they're accurate, that is, they're worth using, and they're accountable. They meet the standards. We have evaluation competency standards now in professional practice and methodology, in establishing context, in interpersonal skills, and in being able to manage projects. We have cultural competence standards. And as cultural competence and evaluator competence give us criteria for evaluation excellence, we are looking at our role in the larger world. Number of associations now have had conference themes, as the American Evaluation Association did, on visionary evaluation for a sustainable, equitable future. conference themes on transformation, on resilience, on dealing with the climate crisis and other emergencies. And so evaluation has long been about criteria. What the Declaration invites us to do is to look at where we stand on the issues facing the future of humanity and the well-being of people on the earth, to know where we stand as a profession, and invites us through the Declaration to incorporate environmental, social, and economic criteria interrelated at the nexus, interdependent in complex dynamic systems as a part of our evaluation work. To conclude this video, Dennis Bours is going to explain how then this particular declaration emerged, and will end with the written version full out of each section of the declaration. Here is Dennis.
A little bit of an introduction on how this Global Declaration on Evaluation for Transformative Change came into being. In October 2019, the third International Conference on Evaluating Environment and Development took place in Prague, organized by the Independent Evaluation Office of the JEF, IDEAS, the International Development Evaluation Association, and the Earth Evil Community of Practice. At the end of that conference, participants unanimously adopted a global declaration on evaluation for transformational change called the Prague Declaration. And that declaration included strong support for further work on transformational evaluation to be undertaken in partnership, exploring power relationships and promoting inclusiveness, and articulating both rights and responsibilities. Well, after that, the pandemic broke out, and the poly crisis has subsequently deepened, broadened, accelerated, and intensified, making ever more urgent actions to combat the interconnected threats of climate, heating, biodiversity loss, soil degradation, and pollution of land, sea, and air. On the occasion of the fourth conference on evaluating environment and development, this last March, the conference brought forth an updated draft of the Prague Declaration. We have taken one of the 10 items in the declaration, the statement on evaluation for sustainability, and we have expanded that as a freestanding statement of commitment for review and invited endorsement here on Earth Day 2024. We feel that it is important for the global evaluation community to make a collective commitment to play a positive and meaningful role in addressing the climate crisis and related poly-crisis changes. And we know that no statement will exactly be what each evaluator alone might want to say, or what specific organizations or associations would support on its own. And wordsmithing is important, yet so is making commitments and taking action.
There you have it. That's how this declaration came about. And as a matter for complete documentation, as an appendix, we are including the full written declaration and the written Prague Declaration so that you can look at those at your leisure, pause the video to take in the different sections of the declaration, and to read the full Prague Declaration. And we invite you to sign the declaration if you so choose, and hope you will join us as part of the global evaluation community in endorsing this historic declaration.